special live stream today because we're gonna have coffee with Elliott Murphy. You like your coffee black, you like your beer and wine red, you like to fall asleep on the couch and wake up on the bed. You like your Indian incense, you like your scarves and your heels, you like to try something new every day and find out how it feels. You like your mango ice cream, you like chocolate cake, you like climbing mountains, you like the sea and the lake, you like buying presents, you like S's that whiz, you like to look at people in the eye and tell it like it is. Oh yeah, you like people, you like to hang out. You like all the colors, you like Algero, you like to drive at night and meet foxes on the road. You like lighting candles, you like love and romance, you like passionate kisses, and how you like to dance. You like to walk your dog, woo. You like flowers and bees, you like bread and crackers, and God, do you like cheese? You like chili on your pizza and on your pasta too. You like everything that's got a soul, and I like everything about you. I like your heart of gold, I like your energy, I like your crazy ideas, I like your honesty, I like your voice messages, I like your dolphin tattoo, I like the passion you put in everything that you do. I like your hands and your hair, I like your legs and your skirts, I like the way you soothe me when everything hurts. I like your eyes and your voice, I like your smile and your laughter, I like the night before and the morning after. I like your laughter that echoes in all the rooms of my mind. I like your perfume that lingers everywhere all the time.
Ooh.
Coffee time. Cha cha cha. Ciao a tutti. Hello, bonsoir, everyone. So, let me see. He is a true songwriting master and a great recording music and playing concerts for over 40 years. And I am proud to call him my mentor and my friend. Elliott Murphy, ladies and gentlemen. Ciao.
Lorenzo,
Come stai?
ciao bella.
Ciao bella. Tutto bene?
Everything's as it should be here in Paris.
I like your hat.
Thank you. That was actually a gift from a hat maker in Spain.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. So how are you?
You know, Lorenzo, I'm fine. We're getting back to whatever could be called normal. I kind of enjoyed the 5 minutes between COVID and World War III. But aside from that, I'm okay. We're starting to play some live shows. I'm up in Belgium on the 10th at Spirit of 66 in Verviers, where I played dozens of times. And then I'm doing my annual New Morning birthday shows, 18th and 19th in March in Paris. I've been doing those for 25 years.
Nice. Your birthday is in 10 days, right?
It is March 16th, but I'm thinking of, I want to go back to the age I was before the COVID hit, you know? I feel like I lost 2 years of my life here.
That's a good deal. Yeah. It should be like that for all of us.
Well,
Oh, man.
it should be.
Are things opening up a little bit in France?
Yeah, I think we take off our masks on the 14th, and I think all the restrictions for live concerts are going to be gone soon. Yeah, I think things have. I mean, the restaurants are packed anyway. You know, you can't change Paris. The restaurants and the cafes, and life goes on.
People want to go out and live and enjoy life. Yeah.
Oh, hey, here's El from New Jersey.
Hi, El.
El Wasserman, hello.
Ciao. Hello, everyone. Dancing Nancy is here. And Lisa the Greaser and everyone. Ferdinando. Ciao a tutti. So, yeah. So what do you think of the crazy situation? What do you think that Anastasia would think if she was here today?
Well, that's funny story.
You have to add an extra verse to the song.
For those, some may not know, but I have a song called Anastasia on my album, Just Story from America. And my dream was always to play that song in Russia. And it hasn't happened yet, but sometime before the Berlin Wall fell, I was performing at a cultural exchange in Switzerland, and there was a Russian band there of young guys, really good. And I played Anastasia for them. And it's the first time I'd ever played it for a Russian audience. And, you know, Anastasia is the story of the daughter of the Tsar who was murdered with the whole family there. I mean, at least France, they gave Marie Antoinette a trial first, but they didn't give them a trial. So I played that song, and then I said to these Russian guys, I said, so what'd you think of that, Anastasia? Yeah, we liked it. Good song. Thank you. I said, yeah, did it have any more meaning to you? And they kind of looked at each other and one said, who's Anastasia? They never thought about that in the school.
And then you all had vodka together.
Maybe. I think that was that when I was, no, I probably stopped drinking by then, but they probably had a few shots.
Do you have coffee now?
I do. It's a little late. I don't. It's a little late in the day for me.
I know I should have called it aperitivo with Elliott Murphy, but
I had a nice Earl Grey tea this afternoon, but yeah, no coffee for me now.
chin chin, I will have some.
Tomorrow my band comes here to Paris and we're going to start rehearsing for these shows we're doing.
Oh, nice. So you have a new CD and a new book out, right?
I do. Let me show you. Let's see. Okay. This is my new book. This is called Tinnitus Journals, 21st Century. And this was a book, it's kind of a diary, some lyrics, thoughts I had written down. I was going to publish it right before the COVID, but then I held off, so we put it out now. And yeah, people seem to like it. You can order it on Amazon or on my site, www.elliottmurphy.com. We got some numbered copies here. And then we have a new live album out, which is this, live in Bilbao. And Bilbao is a city in the Basque country of Spain, where I played many, many times. By the way, when you see this, is the writing backwards or not?
It's backwards.
Ah, God, how do you change?
So you are Iprum toilet.
Well, let's see. Anyway, it's a live album, and from a kind of a legendary show, sold out show we did there.
Nice. When did you do it?
Excuse me?
When did you do the show?
2016. It was a show that was filmed for the documentary, The Second Act of Elliott Murphy. And
okay.
And I were on our best behavior, trying not to make any mistakes.
Was it you and Olivier, or you and the band?
Just me and Olivier. We've done these shows in Bilbao for about a good 25 years, and I think we had done one in January 2020, and then 2021 it was canceled, and I hope we'll get back there soon.
Wow. Yeah, and we hope to see you in Italy also.
Yeah, me too. Hey, there's Bridget. Hope to see you next week, Bridget, and at Spirit.
She's happy to see you, so she will be there.
Yeah. And yes, that show that night was recorded, was filmed, and we knew it was being recorded. And a lot of the songs were from an EP I put out called In Team at that time, a 6-song EP, which sold out. I have no copies left if anyone wants one. You can.
I have.
You have one, Lorenzo. You can listen on Spotify if you want.
Okay. What do you think of Spotify?
Yeah, me? I'm Spotify.
What do you think of it? You think it's fair to the musicians, or so and so?
I think it's kind of like asking, what do you think of rain? It's here.
It's here.
It's not going away, I don't think. Though, you know, Lorenzo, I have been around. When I first started my first album in '73, it was just vinyl. Then there were 8-tracks. Then there were cassettes. Let's see what came then. Then there were CDs. Then there was downloading. First there was Napster, and then iTunes, and then came Spotify. So I've seen it all. So I'm sure something else will down the pike, but that's an interesting debate. Is Spotify fair to musicians? But I grew up in an era where to get your music heard, you really had to get it played on the radio. And, you know, radio doesn't pay anything to the musicians. They all pay to the songwriters, the composers, and the authors. So Spotify does pay something. And, you know, for me, it's a very, very efficient way to get my music out there. For someone like Neil Young, maybe it's not as important, but for me, an artist like myself, it serves a very useful purpose.
Sure. Sure. So how many books and how many CDs do you have in your have you released?
Well, the new album, which is called Wonder, which should be released. I had hoped it would be released this spring, but I think we're just going to release a single this spring, and it should be released over the fall, I think September. I think that's number 40.
40. Wow.
So, but I don't think that counts all the, I don't think that's counting a bunch of vintage things I did, which were outtakes and live. I did a bunch of those. For a while, I worked with a German label called Blue Rose, and they would release a lot of different things too, live concerts. But I'm sticking with this number 40 for now. For books, it's about.
I have at least 5 of them.
You got 5 of them. Well, there was Marty May, which was the novel about a rock star on the rocks called Marty May. There was Poetic Justice, which is a Western. Tramps, which is probably my favorite of all the ones I've written, which is about, which was the name of a club I used to have a residency in New York in the 80s. And it's about a guy there, a musician, kind of a post-punk musician.
Mm-hmm.
There's my memoir, just Story from America. There's a few short story collections. One's called Paris Stories, another called Garden City Stories.
The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
What?
Lion Sleeps Tonight also. Do I remember well?
That's right. Well, that's a short story. That's in one of those collections, I think.
From the 90s, I think, right?
90s. I mean, the books have come out in different formats in different countries in different ways. And then there were 2 collections of poetry, The Middle Kingdom and what's the other one called? 40 Poems and 40 Nights.
And that's with music, right? With Olivier's music.
Well, during the confinement, the first confinement, when it was kind of impossible for Olivia and I to get together, I think you were only allowed to travel 100 kilometers from your home here in France. We decided we would do this project. It was a talking album. I mean, I recited the poetry, and then I gave it to him through the miracle of the internet, and he put some music to it, and that came out. That was called The Middle Kingdom. And we did a limited pressing of that, about 500, and those, boom, they all sold out.
Nice.
And we did another featuring Melissa Cox, who's my violin player.
Mm-hmm.
And that we've all done. It's been done for about 6 months now. We're going to get that mixed and released very soon too.
Nice.
It'll be another spoken word project.
Wow. You never stop.
Well, I never stop.
Keep going.
Where do I stop?
I don't know. Just keep going. We like you.
I'm waiting for the stop sign.
Brew is here. And bonsoir, Aurore. Aurore is here. So, do you mind talking about how you first started?
How I first started what?
Yes. What made you want to become a musician?
Wow. Well, it goes
Big
back
question.
to things, really. I come from kind of a show business family. My father had a show. So there was I inherited a love of performers, actors, actresses, and musicians. At my father's show, he had the Duke Ellington Orchestra and Camp Calloway, and it was very exciting. And we had a lot of instruments in my house. My father just filled the house up with instruments, piano. We had a Hammond B3 organ in the house.
Wow.
I don't know who talked him into buying that, but he had it. And then I started at school. My school, they offered lessons, I think, when you were 12. And I started to play the trumpet, but couldn't really sing and play the trumpet at the same time. And, Elvis Presley had a big impact on me because my grandfather was from the same hometown, Tupelo, Mississippi, as Elvis. So I was kind of a hyperactive kid, I think you would say, and they call it something different today, attention deficit disorder, something like that. And I think my mother thought it'd be a good idea to try and channel my energies into something. So we started playing the guitar together. We took lessons together. And once I got one of these things in my hand, wow, that was it. I just love the guitar and, still do. And that's really how I started. It all came out of the guitar.
And did you want to write your own songs or just be a musician?
Well, I did. I wanted to write my own songs. I'd written a song very early when I picked up the guitar. I don't even know how did it go. Was it a dream when you said you loved me? Was it a dream when you said you cared? Was it a dream when you called me darling? A dream fit for a millionaire. That was the first song I ever wrote. I was about
Great.
13, and
That's a hit.
a hit. Well, I haven't recorded it yet. In fact, this is the first time I think I played it live, just for you, Lorenzo.
Nice.
And
And for all the people.
I was never too confident about my singing ability, but I guess when I was about 15 or 16, thank you for that, bravo. Someone said me, but when I was 15 or 16, I was down in the basement with a couple of girls my age, and they would ask me to sing something, and they said, if you sing something, we'll give you some big kisses. So that convinced me, and I sang a couple of things and got my reward, and I said, this is a good way to go. And then my brother Matthew, he was when he was 18, he worked as Bo Diddley's tour manager. Bo Diddley, the great rock blues artist, like Chuck Berry, and he got that gig because Bo Diddley wanted someone who had a van with a bed in the back that he could sleep when they were driving. And it was at a low point, Bo Diddley's career. I mean, I think those rock and roll legends during the late 60s, they didn't really start getting the attention they deserved until the 70s and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all that. Anyway, he took me to meet Bo Diddley. And Bo Diddley was staying at a little motel at the town next to where the town I grew up. And so we knocked on the door, and his voice says, yeah, who is it? And my brother Matthew said, hey, Bo, it's Matthew Murphy. I'm here with my brother Jimmy, because that's what they called me when I was a kid, Jimmy. And he plays the guitar, and he'd like to meet you. Can we come in? So, yeah, come on in. So Bo opened the door, and there he was. I tell you the truth. He had on white underwear. He had a hat. And Bo Diddley played a square guitar, if you've ever seen pictures of him. And he had a square guitar in the corner. And in the bed was this beautiful looking girl, and she was under the covers, and it looked like she had on less than Bo Diddley had. And he said, guys, this is my new backup singer, Cookie. And I said, wow, this is the business I want to be in, And it convinced me. But seriously, it's really, I started writing songs, on a trip I took to Europe, and someone said that was a cigar box guitar. Well, no, it wasn't made from a cigar box. It was actually made by Gretsch Guitars for Bo Diddley special. If you Google it, you can find it. It was a red square guitar. And then
Kate from Kalamazoo asking.
What's that?
That Kate is from Kalamazoo. Have you ever played in Kalamazoo?
Michigan?
Yeah.
Well, I have played in Michigan, but have I played in Kalamazoo?
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's just so then when I took this trip to Europe when I was 22, and I started to play on the streets, and came to Italy, came to Rome. I was in a Fellini movie called Fellini Roma, And I started to write songs because I realized I could sing anything on the streets and it wouldn't matter. And that was really a turning point in two ways. For one, getting the courage to actually get out there and sing, and writing songs. And then shortly afterwards, I returned to America and got a record deal and wrote my first album and recorded it. And, and I knew if I really persevered, someday I would end up here with you, Lorenzo. And here I am.
Nice. Hey, I saw my cousin Daniela is here. Daniela.
Ah.
Ciao.
Hello.
Have you seen her new TV show lately?
Which is that? I've seen many of her shows on television.
We went to one together.
What?
We went to see one together one time.
And
somewhere.
That's French music, and I enjoyed that too.
Nice. So, who influenced you when you were starting out? I never asked you.
Musically?
Yeah, or not?
Well, for me, it's always been the two poles of literature and rock and roll. As I've often said, literature is my religion and rock and roll is my addiction. And always the two have inspired me to keep moving forward. But in the early days, I started playing guitar was pre-Beatles. So there was folk music was a big thing. Kingston Trio, Bob Dylan had just started. He was pretty much a solid folk singer. And my sister gave me his first album for my birthday once. And I learned that song, House of the Rising Sun, and then a couple of years later when the Animals had the hit with it, I knew it. And I also liked surf groups because I was a surfer. I was a Long Island surfer. And so I liked instrumental groups like the Ventures and Dick Dale and like that. And the Beach Boys. I really loved the Beach Boys. And then, of course, when the Beatles hit, that just changed everything. And, I remember I'm old enough that I saw both Elvis Presley and the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show. So they must have been about 8 years apart, I think. And I had my dad bought me a Gretsch Tennessean guitar, which was the same model that George Harrison played. And that was really exciting. And their songwriting, I think, influenced me. But who else can I say? And then there was a period there, Lorenzo, where I really wanted to be just a great blues guitar player. Eric Clapton was my hero.
Really?
Yeah. The joke about the blues guitarist who goes to the crossroads. The legend of the crossroads that's where Robert Johnson made a deal with the devil, and
yeah,
he got so that the blues guitarist goes. Someone's asked me if I've ever performed in South Africa. I have not. Or in Africa, the closest I've gotten is the Canary Islands.
Ernest, ciao, Ernest. Good to see you.
So this blues guitarist, he goes down to the crossroads, conjecture the devil to come up, and finally, poof, the devil appears. What do you want? He says, can you make me the greatest blues guitar player in the world? And the devil says, yes, I can do that. But you got to give me $1,000 and your soul. So the guy thinks, he goes, wow, well, I'll give you my soul, but I only got $5. And the devil says, well, then I can make you the greatest bass player in the world. Sorry for all the bass players listening.
You had another one about the bass players. Somewhere in Africa, somebody got lost. And
I'm not going to start telling jokes here. Right.
And I love your Elvis jokes also.
Thank you.
Pre-gig dinner Elvis shows, Elvis jokes.
You got to come to the show if you want. Speak about. I was just listening to a song Elvis did. the song "Baby What You Want Me to Do" by Jimmy Reed.
Sure.
The song Elvis, when he did his 1968 comeback special, he looked so good. He was dressed in leather, and he grabbed Scotty Moore's electric guitar and he started to play this song. You got me running, you got me hiding, you got me running, hiding, any way you want me to do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got me doing what you want to, baby, what you want me to do. I'm going up, I'm going down, I'm going up, down, down, up, getting paid, let it roll. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got me doing what you wanna, baby, what you want me to do. You got me peeping, you got me hiding, you got me peep, hide, peep, anyway, let it roll. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got me doing what you want to, baby, what you want me to do. There you go.
Bravo. Nice.
So yeah,
So,
I was
so when, yeah.
you know, he was a great inspiration, but I knew I could never be Elvis. He was like from another planet. But when we saw the Beatles, you know, four guys working hard, writing songs, playing their instruments, that was an attainable goal. Thank you for that. Bravo, Ivan.
So yeah, so if you had a time machine and you could go back to that guy, the Elliott Murphy who's starting out, would you do anything differently, or would you like to have the same career as you have had?
Wow. Well, I actually do have a time machine in the next room. I get in it every night. I go revisit all my high school girlfriends. Tough question, you know. I mean, I kind of believe in destiny, Lorenzo. And as I was saying, I came to Paris in 1971 and I just fell in love with Europe, I guess. So it's not surprising that I ended up here. And my career certainly ended up much more European centered than in America, though I do. Before the COVID, I used to get back every year and play some shows, and I hope to do that again. I mean, in those early days in the 70s with my albums, when there was really kind of a lot of talk about who was going to be the next big thing, you know, was it going to be Bruce? Was it going to be me? Was it going to be, I don't know, Tom Waits, all kinds of people, Aerosmith. And I'm not sure if I fit into that role or into that mold. I think my mother always told me I was too independent thinking to follow the corporate line on that stuff. So there's a lot of things I would do, or there's a lot of people I could have worked with that I wish I would have followed up with more. I was just thinking today of Mick Ronson, who was David Bowie's great guitar player. And Mick was supposed to produce my second album. And we started working on it, the pre-production and going over the songs. And then one day he showed up in my apartment and he said, "Man, I can't produce your album." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because Bob Dylan just invited me to go out on tour with him." And he went out on the Rolling Thunder Review tour with Bob Dylan. And I should have gotten back in touch with him again after the tour, but I went to LA. I did my second album with Paul Rothchild, who had produced The Doors. But Today, there's a lot more interaction and communication between musicians than there was back then. For instance, at the time of my album, Just Story from America, I opened a lot of shows for Electric Light Orchestra. Jeff Lynne was the leader of that band. But I don't think we ever really met each other, you know? It was just, you didn't interact like you do today. And he certainly has turned out to be an incredible producer and musician. And what he did with the Traveling Wilburys and Tom Petty's albums. I even met Scotty Moore, Elvis Presley's guitar player, one time, because my brother was working for Robert Gordon. And Robert Gordon was produced by Richard Goddard, who had produced Blondie and so many people, a legend. And I met Scotty Moore. And I should have said, let's sit down and play something, but. So I don't know. I think, I had my son Gaspar. He's in the music business too. And I just always advise him, if you see an opportunity, just go for it. Don't hesitate. It's so much easier to say yes than to say no. So what would I do different? I think I made a lot of mistakes, a lot of business mistakes, a lot of personal mistakes, but the music I made, especially during the early years, the 70s, seems to have stood up. And, people still like it. They still listen to it. So I guess that's what's important.
I think your songs are all with capital S, great, great, great songs. You are a true master of songwriting.
Thank you.
And you can't go wrong with that. It stays, forever.
It was hard during the first confinement to write songs. And I said to my wife that I don't think I'm going to write any more songs. And she said, oh, you got to have hope. And I wrote a song called Hope, which is going to be on the new album.
And we heard it because you also played from your couch, Corona couch concerts.
You did. But I thought I would sing a different song tonight. This is a song that was on an album of mine called Party Girls and Broken Poets. And it was kind of an album about, with everything that's gone on in the Ukraine, and everyone is so worried about the nuclear war. And this was kind of about that. And this is called Saving Time. My darling, hold on to me while we shall flee through a smoky sea, running slowly through yellow fields. In yellow fields there are flowers to steal, saving time, saving time. Saving time, saving time. Oh, give me something to think about while we lounge about in this big dark house. Put your feet up or on the porch. Shall we light a torch for the latecomers? Saving time, saving time, saving time, saving time. Oh, show me closely your charm bracelet. What's that hanging from it? Is it a rocket ship? Search the horizon for friendly planes. in the nuclear game. I guess they're all the same. Saving time. Saving time. Saving time. Saving time. Sunsets are scary, so we won't look. Is that all it took for the world to cook? The only thing moving are satellites. God, they're very bright by the dawn's early light. Saving time. Saving time. Saving time. Saving time. Saving time.
Nice. Wow. Nice song. So, Rudy, Helena, she says she wants you in Sweden, back in Sweden.
Oh,
Angela.
we were, thanks to my dear friend Anders. He was Anders Johansson. He came to a show of mine in Paris many years ago, and I said, I'd love to get back to Sweden. And he said, well, I'll bring you back. And he started bringing us on tour there every year. And the audiences were so great. And we hope to get back.
Nice. And we hope to see you back in Italy. Are you going to play the 27th International Rock and Roll Festival in Taormina this year?
I'm nervous one, but you know the story of that. That was I was contacted in pre-internet days. I think we used Telex. I was invited to play at the first International Rock and Roll Congress.
Sorry.
Taormina, Italy, which is in Sicily. And I accepted. I was very excited about it. I got a plane ticket and flew there, and I get up the airport, and there's a couple of guys with big signs, welcome Elliott Murphy to the first International Rock and Roll Congress in Taormina. And I said, wow, who else is coming? And they said, just you. And the first night it was a question and answer session in a disco in Taormina. First, I played some songs, and then there was a question and answer, and there was a line of 16-year-old beautiful Sicilian girls ready to ask me questions about the rock and roll lifestyle. And the first question was, Senor Murphy, do you know Madonna? And I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't know Madonna. And then there were no more questions after that.
Nice. So, and Varese, the last time you played in Varese was a virtual concert?
Yes.
For Varese Land of Rock and Roll, which is still available on YouTube somewhere. But you've come to Varese a few times, and you've come to Sesto Calende a few times.
Oh yeah, Carlo Carlini. Great Carlo. That's funny, you should show him with a cigarette. I remember when Olivier stopped smoking, Carlo told Olivier, stopping to smoke is very bad for your health.
I remember the story, yeah.
He was a character, but he was he brought me to Italy so many times, Carlo, and his daughter, what was his daughter's name?
Paola?
Paola, yeah. Brought us all over, especially northern Italy. And I remember playing, he had a festival in Sesto Calente with...
Only a Bobo.
Yes. I met a lot of great people there. Dave Alvin was there. A lot of guys from Austin, Texas.
One time, Terry Allen,
Terry Allen, yeah.
the Guy Clark, maybe one time.
Guy Clark.
Who
I
else was there?
RCA Records together back in the 70s. So we were
Really
a lot, yeah.
great Carlo. Do you have any Carlo stories?
Oh,
Too many to say.
too many to say. What can I say? Any Carlo stories? I know Olivier's got some. But I do remember the time of that festival. The festival was going actually well. A lot of people. And it looked like for once, Carlo might make money on something. And at the end of the festival, he was so full of enthusiasm for this festival. He took this beautiful rented keyboard he had gotten and put it on the ground and started jumping on top of it, which of course he had to pay for it. There went the profits for the show.
Carlo, we miss him. So let's play a game. I think you had another story. I give you names of other musicians and you tell us stories. I think you had one about David Bowie.
A story?
I think you mentioned something during one of your Corona Couch concerts. But
well, I asked him to produce my second album and sent him a letter, care of RCA Records, because we were both.
That was it.
And he called me back like a month later and invited me down to Electric Lady Studios and to play his album. He had a live album coming out called David Live. And he was really a very nice guy, real gentleman. And unfortunately, he said he was going out on tour, so he couldn't produce my album. And he told me, he said, maybe Tony could do it. And he meant Tony Visconti, the great producer who produced. But I didn't really know who Tony was at that point.
Okay. And Lou Reed.
Lou once said, my week beats your year. But yeah, well, I know Lou because I wrote the liner notes for a Velvet Underground album, Live 69. And he really was very helpful to me in the early days. And yeah, I miss him.
I think you told me a story once. We were going up to your house, and a few days before, I think he was knocking at your door. He was downstairs, and they wouldn't let him in, right? Was that? Do I remember well?
Yeah, I think that was right. I think that the doorman at the building in Manhattan, he never saw anyone who looked like Lou. That was the time Lou, I think, had his bleach blonde hair and his fingernails were black, and he was dressed all in black leather. And yeah, they made me come down and identify him.
Nice. Keith Richards.
Keith, you know, I'm a super fan of Keith. I mean, no one plays rhythm guitar like Keith Richards. But yeah, I did an interview with Keith at the time of his first solo album. It was for an Italian magazine. I think it was for Mucchio Selvaggio, I think. And you know, when I met, the interview kept getting postponed day after day after day, but finally it happened. And Keith walked out and said, so they tell me you're a musician. And I said, yes. And he said, what do you play? I said, oh, the guitar. He said, oh, that damn thing.
Was he nice?
Yo, couldn't have been more charming.
Really?
Richards, you know.
Okay, next one. Billy Joel.
Well, Billy Joel's a Long Island homeboy. I've known Billy a very long time, and opened a lot of shows for him back in the day. And most recently, he inducted me into the Long Island Music Hall of Fame. And then invited me to play with him at the Madison Square Garden. And we did Walk on the Wild Side, Lou Reed's song. Magic Night.
Nice. Okay. Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce put the smile back on the face of rock and roll. You know, things were getting kind of decadent there for a while. And Bruce, he really, he brought, I always say if the Beatles were about love and the Rolling Stones were about sex, Bruce is about hope. You know, Bruce gives us hope. Just couldn't be a nicer guy. He's been so generous to me in so many ways. We did a duet together on one of my albums. Everything I Do Leads Me Back to You. He's invited me on stage with him numerous times. My son Gaspar invited him to go out on the road with him and work for him for a couple of months, you know, with the sound crew. So, you know, he has been, he is really, I think, is responsible for rock and roll being taken as seriously as it is and as it was for a while.
Mm-hmm. You said that playing a song with him live is like getting on a roller coaster or on a train or something.
You know, it's like someone tells you, okay, stand at this station and, you know, in 2 hours, this train's going to go by going 100 miles an hour and you got to jump on and stay on to the next station and then jump off again. Usually I sing Born to Run with them or something in the encore. So, you know, by that point, the band is going crazy. Yeah, that's what it's like.
Alessandra, Rebecca. So yeah, I remember the duet you just mentioned. Everything I Do Leads Me Back to You. You had you were in Varese once. I think in the summer you had a night up. You were going from the south of France to Switzerland maybe, and we got together. I found you a hotel in Varese, and you had a little cassette, and you had just recorded that. What year was that? Maybe mid-90s?
95, 96.
Yeah, and you had a little rough mix of the song.
I think I can. Everything I do leads me back to you. You see me standing in the acid rain. I'm full of existential pain. You can look for love so long until you're sure you'll never feel so good again. And you came along like an angel, like a lover, like a friend. Everything I do leads me back to you.
Nice, beautiful song. So how did it feel to finally have your friendship recorded?
It felt wonderful. I sent the tapes to Bruce. First, I played him the demo at his house in New Jersey. We're sitting in this, I mean, it sounded like a Bruce Springsteen song. We're sitting in his car in the rain and listening to a cassette. And he said, yeah, I think I could sing on that. And then we sent him the tapes from the studio in Brussels where I was recording. And about a month later, I got a phone call from him about 4 o'clock in the morning saying he had just done it. He had just sang on it. And he was only, I thought he was only going to sing on the chorus with me. But there's one verse which had a car analogy to it. And I think he just couldn't resist singing on that.
Cars and girls. Nice. So did you start out together in the same bars, and because you were born the same year, right?
Yeah, we are from that magic year, 49, which me and Bruce, Tom Waits, Tom Petty was a year later, I think 1950, but a lot of people born that year. Also a lot of great actors from my generation. But Bruce was from New Jersey and I was from Long Island, so they were on the different sides of New York City. So he had the bar scene in the Jersey Shore, and I had the same similar thing in Long Island. But I think he put in more time than I did, because I was in Europe and I was singing on the streets, and he had been I think he had a pretty successful band in New Jersey for a while.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next name, Bob Dylan.
Bob, God, I was just listening to Corina from the freewheeling Bob Dylan. How's that? Corina. I can't play it. How does it go? Corina, why can't you be true? That's all I can remember.
Where you been so long?
Why'd you take? That's it. Why'd you take so long? Bob Dylan's the Picasso of rock and roll, you know.
And you opened for him in Pistoia in Tuscany.
I did, yeah.
Did you meet him?
I did not meet him.
No, because in the 70s, people called you and John Prine and Loudon Wainwright and Bruce and maybe somebody else the new Bob Dylan, the new Bob Dylans.
And Bob was only about 35 years old at the time, so I don't think we really needed a new Bob Dylan.
Right.
No, he's a master, and every time the critics kind of write him off, he comes up with another brilliant album. He's got more lives than a cat, that cat.
Okay. Last name, Jim Morrison, because at some point you used to tell a story about living in Paris and not being. Yeah. How did that go? How was that story?
Well, Jim Morrison lasted 3 months in Paris. I've lasted 30 years in Paris. So
You won.
How's that sound? Well, how's that go, LA? What? I just got in town about an hour ago. I took a walk around, see which way the wind blows. I see a lucky little lady in the city of light. City of light. City of light. I don't think those are the right words, but LA Woman is a song I perform a lot. And as I said, my second album was produced by Paul Rothchild, who produced almost all the Doors albums, with the exception, I think, of the last two. And he used to tell me crazy stories about Jim.
Really?
Crazy stories, yeah. There was a while Jim was living in a motel when the Doors were huge, and he had no telephone in his room. So when they wanted, he wouldn't show up at the studio, and they'd have to call the motel, and someone would go down and knock on his door. But he was a real poet, Jim. Doomed, tragic, but a real poet.
And was that story true of you recording the album Milwaukee and the girl walking in and asking you?
That is true. It was actually the engineer's girlfriend, who's now his wife, Meg, and she walked in and said, "God, that sounds just like Elliott Murphy," but it couldn't be because he's dead. Alive and well, still alive and well. And speaking of which, Lorenzo, if I want to stay alive and well, I better not be too much later for the dinner my wife is cooking upstairs.
How is Francois?
Yes.
She's good. And Gaspar, just to steal the title of one of your songs, How's the Family?
Yeah.
The band.
How's the wife with the husband who doesn't understand? Why she starts to cry each morning in the coldness in her hands, and the cold, cold ballerina whose thoughts of love and life has split her down the middle till she's cracked like walked on ice, and the prince of 15 years with no roof over his life, 'cause his parents don't know his meaning or his needle and his knife. And how's the family? How's the family? How's the tired widow grandmother? Save the rest for the next time.
All right.
I'm gonna
Okay.
get up to dinner.
Thank you. Have a nice dinner. And last question, what's in your pockets?
Well, I'll tell you what's in my pocket. That is always in my pocket. A guitar pick.
Nice.
Don't leave
I
home.
told you, never stop. Always ready.
Usually I don't have coffee before dinner, but nice to be
But
here, Lorenzo.
thank you so much for the conversation and the coffee and everything, and for playing. And nice to see you. I hope to see you in person soon.
I hope to see you too.
Take care.
You too, Lorenzo.
Ciao.
Bye.
Love to all. Bye-bye. Ciao. Wow. So that was Elliott Murphy. I go to... okay. Grazie, Elliott. Ciao, Gina. Ciao, Alisa. Ciao, Angelo. Ciao a tutti. Wow. Nice. Thank you for being here. And I'm sorry if I didn't see some of your messages. Ivan, Dario, Dancing Nancy, Susanna, Rudy, ciao Danila, ciao a tutti. I hope you enjoyed this. I did. Should I play a song and say bye-bye, ciao, ciao? Ciao, Alisa. Ciao. Let's play one, and one that I probably wouldn't have written without Elliott. I don't know why. I just thought that, and I thought, wait, let me get rid of this. I thought that the first one I sang, I mean the only one I sang today before. Also, I don't think I would have written without the influence of Elliott's music. But let me try this. Hey, why are you putting all that makeup on? Do you think you could look even better than that? Who taught you how to be so cool? Where'd you find that funny hat? I want to know everything about you. I want to learn what I don't know. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about me too, but you haven't even let me say hello. I think I'm gonna kiss you, 'cause that's the only way to make you stop talking. I know that I would miss you so much if I ever let you go. Girl, you've got a skin so soft and fragile, but you've got the strength of a loaded gun. You look like you just walked out of a hurricane. Or maybe you are one. It's not that I don't like your stories. Hey, they're the best I ever heard. But I've been with you now for nearly 2 hours. Haven't even let me say a word. Think I'm gonna kiss you, 'cause that's the only way to make you stop talking. Know that I would
would miss you so much if I ever let you go. You know, I love the way you look at me. I could sit here forever and just watch you. Poetry and art will break your heart. I know it happens to me too. Well, you talked to me endlessly, all the way up and down 42nd Street. Now you want to stop for some Mexican food. Like, thank you on behalf of my poor family. Your lips are red like strawberries. I love it when you bite them. Look away. Your eyes are like green apples. They'll keep my doctor away. Yeah, away. It's funny, I feel like I've known you forever. No, girl, I met you just now. I'd like to take my eyes off of you, but I don't know how. And now you ask me if I'm ready to go. Well, of course, I'll go anywhere with you. But before that, pardon me, my dear, there's one thing I must do. I think I'm gonna kiss you, 'cause that's the only way to make you stop talking. I know that I would miss you so much if I ever let you go. I'm not gonna let you go. Thank you all. Grazie a tutti. Thank you, and thank you, Elliott, for the inspiration always. Alla prossima. See you soon. Wednesday.